I was not born into a family with height. My mom is 5 feet tall, and my dad is 5 feet 2 inches tall. So I am 5'9", so I am the giant in the family, being 9 inches taller than my mom and 7 inches taller than my dad. So I was at the UCLA family camp 2 weeks ago with my family, and one of the things that the adults do is they play inner tube water polo. And I was playing up against some pretty tall people, and even sitting in inner tube when you're playing someone who's 6'4", 6'5", they have a lot of arm reach over you. And one of the things you're allowed to do in inner tube water polo, according to the UCLA family camp rules, is you can tip over your opponents. And if you're not in your inner tube, you can't catch the ball, you can't throw the ball, you can't tip anyone, so you got to be in your inner tube. So there's this guy on the other team. I mean, he's huge. He's probably 5, 6, 7 years younger than me, probably about 6'5", 230, 240. He's just dominating the game. I mean, he's dunking people, he's making all the goals. And so me at 5'9", I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go toe to toe with this guy because I just want to see what happens. So clearly I can't compete with him on kind of the conventional rules. I can't go toe to toe and try to score and whatnot. But the one thing my parents did gift me is I have extremely good balance. I mean, really good balance. So I make it a point to figure out how to get him out of his inner tube, keep dunking him. Because if he can't be in his inner tube, then he can't play. And if he can't play, he can't score. And if he can't score, we're going to win. Now this seems kind of fun to me. This is absolutely David versus Goliath. He's Goliath, and I'm David. So I start doing this. I just start tipping him, and it took me a couple times to figure out how to do it because he's much bigger than me, and he's like extremely quick in the water. I'm like, wow, how does this guy know how to maneuver in the water this well? This doesn't seem naturally possible. But then I finally figure it out, and I just keep dunking him and keep dunking him and keep dunking him, and he's getting mad. Now he could say to me, "Hey man, stop dunking me," but you know it's part of the game, and we all want to win. Everyone there is very accomplished. So finally, I dunk him, and he's standing in the pool, and he just dunks me out of anger. He's just so mad that he can't use his skills to win and to score because this little guy keeps dunking him. And finally, I'm like, hey, you know, quit it with the bad sportsmanship. Like, we're just having fun here at family camp. But I clearly got him. And the reason I got him is because I didn't play by his rules. I played by David's rules in David and Goliath. David's rules are figure out how to win what's best for you. And that's really the theme this week is why David wins and why you actually want to be a David. Because whatever you're doing, whether it's you're building your company, you're getting more sales, you want to grow your money better in the stock market, it has to be from a David point of view because high-frequency traders are going to come at you, hedge funds are going to come at you, conventional brokers, big box advisors, independent advisors, they don't have your best interest. So you got to think like David. And the reason why David wins is he turns and looks to his strengths, what he's best at. For me, in inner tube water polo on vacation, my strength is balance. And so I used balance to win. We actually won by 1 goal. It was like 27-28. It was pretty fun. So you want to look to what your strengths are. And as an individual investor, you actually have a lot of strengths. So let me give you an example. Now, last year, the blue line on the screen, which is municipal bonds, fell by 30%. A municipal bond exchange traded fund, VKQ, fell 30% last year, while the stock market went up 32%. Now the red line on the chart is the S&P 500. And this chart you're looking at is from the beginning of the year till today. So you can see the blue line is doing better than the red line. Now the blue line in some ways shouldn't be doing better. It's municipal bonds. But in many ways it's crushing the stock market. VKQ is up 7.33% in capital gains, plus there's another 3.5% yield that has come from it. So it's up almost 11% for the year, while the S&P is up about 5.5%. So it's up 100%. So a David, an individual, they can look and see, hey, what has done badly and turned around? And if you followed me from any amount of time, you know that investing when things go bad is actually where all the money is. And so last year was really the wrong thing to be in municipal bonds. But this year it really is, because as a David, you can move in and put some of your portfolio in that and see that. You don't have to move $100 million or $1 billion. You're small or smaller, so you can move those smaller amounts in and you can do much better. That's something that David would do. He's nimble, he's agile, so are you. The individual investor has never had more tools than ever before. That's the problem. They have too many tools. They have too much technology. Most of these tools are new technology. Literally, technology is killing people's portfolios. That's not what David would do. He picked up a couple stones, threw it at the head of Goliath, and won. Most of the reason why my clients do well over time and people who have been in the portfolio is because it's pretty simple what we do. It's like throwing stones. It always works. So find yourself in that and see how, is technology really killing my returns? And if you aren't doing well, then it is. And start going from the point of view of, actually, I have more power than the big players and the small players, because I can move into something like VKQ after it falls 30% and beat the stock market so far this year by 100%. Now, I want to say one thing before my takeaway, even though I've changed the screen to the takeaway screen. I later learned that this guy I went kind of toe-to-toe with in inner tube volleyball. I later learned that day that he was an Olympic water polo player. So I thought that was even better, and that made more sense why he actually got mad with me during the game, because he couldn't do his conventional or traditional way of winning. I stopped it, and that actually made him mad, and that's why he lost his cool, and when he stood up, he dunked me. So I thought that was really funny. The takeaway this week, if you're losing, whether you're losing sales in growing your company, or if you're losing with your positions or your portfolio isn't growing as well as you want, it's because you're playing by someone else's rules. And those might be unconscious rules that you're following, or they may be conscious rules. But there's no reason, if you're following David's rules, that you should have anything but great returns. And guys, this is really just another step towards your freedom with money, your future, and your life. Until next time, this is RC Peck.